Glad to have everybody with us. This is going to be the second half of Mr. Larry Pino's presentation towards living an integrated life that he did the first half at our September event. As Nathaniel Brunner just informed me, that content from the September event is now up, available for you to watch any of those presentations, including Larry's first half. Tonight's the second half. I'm going to turn it over to Larry in just a second. This is the part will be more infrastructure, more granular. I guess I would say, Larry, and so a lot of the content came from some of the questions that we have curated from our fit groups over the last month, 6 weeks, regarding entity infrastructures. And I know you've got a lot to say about that, and we'll probably answer 99.9% of the questions that they had. But we will have some Q&A time at the end, I believe. So without stealing any more of your time, Larry, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
That's fantastic. Thanks, David. And good evening, everyone. Great to see you, especially the ones that I can see their faces here. So welcome. So just to kind of create the context, as I mentioned at the event, the mastermind event, David had actually challenged me, which is why I put together this program the way that I did. He said that, you know, you've come up with some incredible structures, and we're just trying to understand how to connect the dots between the structures themselves and how you even got there. And, you know, I've done a number of, you know, I've written books and I've done a number of things, but the one thing that I had never done is connected the dots between them. So I put together this presentation specifically for David and for Freedom Founders, starting with, you know, towards living an integrated life. What does it look like? And you'll have a chance now that it's out to be able to see that first half. But the only thing I want to do, because it'll make sense for purpose of the second half, is I'm going to just very briefly in 5 minutes, I'm just going to do a real quick synopsis as we go through these slides of how we got where we were. And then that's where I'm going to now start tonight. So if we take a look at the integrated life and, you know, the agenda, the primary issue that I want everybody to sort of understand is that when you're creating structures, you have to start with yourself. You're not starting with the outside world, you're starting with yourself. And there is a process by which you can understand what yourself looks like. And I call that process of integrational processing. So when we take a look at all of this, and I'm just going to move this here for a second. If we take a look at all of this, we take a look at the integration, which is integrational processing. Number 2, the rules of engagement. Number 3, the functional processing. And then everything we talk about is really a synopsis of those 3. Now, believe me, I'd go through great detail the first time around in September. So I'm not going to pause on this. I just want to be able to make sure that you're clear as we go through this, what it looks like. And what do we talk about in the process of doing all of this? We establish our priority of wants. We identify which ones allow us to achieve purpose, commitment, purpose, passion, joy, commitment, intention, and mission. We want to be able to develop our lifelong givens, develop protocols for how to live, and then structure an architecture that's based on that. So as we go through this process, I indicated to the entire mastermind group the other day, 2 weeks ago, that the only way that I could really show you how to do it is to show you how I do it, because otherwise it's theoretical and it's not helpful. So I just kind of bore my soul and kind of thought about whether I'd gone too far after I finished the mastermind. But it was for the purpose of just simply making sure that you really understood how to apply it. And so as we establish our priority of wants, what those are, I indicated what they were for me. And you have this all on video, so don't be concerned about it. I identified what my personal priority of wants are. I talk about what my purpose, commitment, intention, and mission is. And my communication to you is this is what I would really like you to do. This is the process of what we call integrational processing. So as you go through to establish your own, you work through a personal commitment statement that allows you to answer questions, out of which you can establish what that personal commitment statement looks like. You come up with your answers to those, and then out of that, you then apply it to your life. In my personal application, I indicated what my purpose, commitment, intention, and mission were, and that has fundamentally driven my life. And so as we go through, what are we talking about? Living an integrated life. And so when we now establish this, we establish what that drive looks like, and how it can be achieved. We establish what our lifelong givens are. And again, for my purposes, I established that these are my lifelong givens. Everything that I do has in some way to center around personal value creation, professional value creation, family, family homestead, compound, a family legacy. Those are my primary givens in my life. I had mentioned to the group, I came from a very strong Italian background, and family was extremely important, and I was raised with that. And so it became sort of a central heartbeat for the way that I've structured my life. We talk about the things that you now want to burnish your life with, your personal attributes, the rules of engagement, the modalities that you use, and so forth. And so we then talk about all of those, and then we put it into a structure and an architecture to encapsulate all of that. And my sense of it is, yeah, that's exactly right. So as I move on, and as quickly as I just did that, David, I believe it took me an hour the first time around to get to this slide. So you'll have plenty of time to seize on that. But I guess the one takeaway that I want you to have with respect to where we are right now is that that's the work that you do before you talk about structure, because your structure is going to be based on you and how you show up in life, the way you want to show up in life, and how you want to manifest yourself professionally, and how you want to manifest yourself personally, and how you want your state, your family, your legacy to manifest themselves. Now, with that said, let's now go to the architectural side of what that structure looks like, which is really the beginning of part 2 of this discussion. You might have seen this before. This represents the individual pieces for each one of those. And I know that I could probably figure out how to do some type of, pointer or something like that, but I'll just use words to describe it. On the left-hand side, and we're going to look at this in a number of different ways, so don't be concerned about it, but on the top left-hand side, you have a company called Talking Dog Holdings, LLC. This is a personal holding company. It is the residual of all of the value that you will be creating for yourself and for your family. So it becomes the center for estate planning that you're going to be using.
So Larry, one second. Yeah, 1 second. We're not seeing that structure. We're not seeing Top Dog on our screen. So
you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. There, perfect. Thank you.
There you go. Sorry about that. So on top Talking Dog Holdings, on the left-hand side, that's the one that you see, right? That's the disadvantage of having 4 monitors. So you have Talking Dog Holdings on the left-hand side. That's the personal or family holding company. It's the residual of all of the value that you're going to be creating. Now, I want you to go down for a second before we go to the right. You see Talking Dog Real Estate, LLC, Talking Dog Investments, LLC, and Talking Dog Training, which is fundamentally the equivalent of what I'm just simply calling your business or your enterprise company. Now, in each of those instances, Talking Dog Holdings on the upper left-hand side owns each one of those. So think about it as if you are working in the world of real estate investments, that's fine. That's its own LLC. It's its own entity, and it's called Talking Dog Real Estate. If you're in the field of investments, then it's Talking Dog Investments. What could those investments be? They could be privately held real estate notes. They could be distressed real estate notes. They could be securities. They could be options if you're an options trader. In other words, it's an investment company. What's remarkable about that is that it is non-depreciable assets that are fundamentally all backed together inside one particular entity. In addition, there's what I call a certain cogency to that, because from a cogency standpoint, what you want to do is you want to have assets which are similarly situated with each other. And by having the assets, I think I just lost a group of you here. There we go. By having the assets similarly situated, real estate in one company, investments in another company, a business or an enterprise entity in another company, Talking Dog obedience training, for example. It allows you to be able to operationally and effectively control those within the context of the same parameters that each one of those entities are exposed to.
So Larry, can I translate into dental terminology?
Yeah.
Okay, so the middle one, Talking Dog Investments LLC, as you said, non-depreciable assets. So that would be notes, options, anything that's not depreciable. In the real estate, Talking Dog Real Estate LLC, that could be my turnkey properties. That could be investments in syndications, right? Equity ownership in syndications, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then over on Talking Dog Obedience Training LLC, could that be my dental practice?
Yes, that's
okay.
Exactly right.
All right.
So with that, by the way, David, and for everybody, we will also have the opportunity to subdivide these. However, these are the broad categories. So for example, Talking Dog Real Estate, David mentioned two things. He mentioned turnkeys and he mentioned syndications. Those are two different types of real estate investments. So you could put them all in the same, depending upon what the quantum is, or you could decide to subdivide them into two special purpose entities, SPEs or SPVs, for the purpose of one being syndications and another one being turnkeys. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But the broad category, which is what I really want you to pull out of this slide, is you have a holding company. That holding company owns an entity that owns your real estate. That holding company owns an entity that owns your investments. And that holding company owns the company that owns your businesses. In the case of a practice, it's a little bit different because just like your dental practices or medical practices, my legal practice, that isn't owned by a holding company. But definition from a licensing standpoint, we can't have that anyway. So that would be different. So consider the Talking Dog Obedience Training to be all of the different types of businesses which you might potentially get involved in the course of your life. So now I'm going to drill down just a little bit more. Now what you're seeing is you're seeing the detail with respect to each one of those. So if you take a look at your Talking Dog holdings, what's the infrastructure of that? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed one more that I have to do first. The right-hand side on the upper line is Talking Dog Management Corporation. That is a management corporation that is going to be managing everything. It's going to manage your holding company. It's going to manage your real estate. It'll manage your investment account company. It'll manage your business enterprise companies. It'll manage everything. It doesn't, of course, manage your law practice or your medical practice or dental practice. All right.
So Larry, on the management corporation. So the management corporation manages everything. It's front facing. It's front facing to customers, tenants, whoever, and it doesn't actually own any assets. Is that correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So if you